For those of you that love talking about animals, from Sci News, new carnivorous dinosaur from Madagascar named Lonely Little Bandit. Paleontologists have identified the first new species of dinosaur from the island of Madagascar in nearly a decade. And now, from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to Creature Guy Live Prehistoric News. Hit that subscribe button so we can dive right back into the prehistoric news of the day. Well, um, definitely the dinosaur before this that was discovered, at least it appears to be some sort of a Majungasaur. Let me rephrase that: a belly sword theropod
I'm sorry,
dinosaur.
I just can't get past Lonely Little Bandit.
Yeah, it's possible that what you're referring to is that these animals were solitary hunters, which is what or it's how belly sores many times are often portrayed as. But well, first of all, he's not necessarily tiny. You could say compared to certain other species of carnosaur, because the belly swords do belong to the carnosaur lineage of theropod dinosaurs. But yeah, I don't know what to say about that. So let's see. Outline of Daholokile Takana with a human. The dinosaur named Daholokile Takana lived about 90 million years ago. The species name is from the Malagasy language, meaning lonely small bandit. Okay. Well, yes, that makes sense. It estimated to have been 9 to 14 feet long, or somewhere around 4 meters. Hoakley belongs to a group called Abelisaurids. Carnivorous dinosaurs common to the southern continents. Yes, the Abelisaurids did quite well over in South America and Africa. Not so much Australia. They have been, that's interesting, it said southern. They have been discovered over in Asia, especially in different regions of Pakistan and India, I believe even Thailand. So they weren't just subject to Africa and South America. Up to this point, no dinosaur remains from between 165 and 70 million years ago could be identified to the species level in Madagascar, a 95 million year gap in the fossil record. Whoa, 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 whoa. Majungasaurus was found in 1896 in Madagascar. So that's wrong. Hopefully shortens this gap by 20 million years. Wait a second. Am I mixing something up? Oh, okay. Majungasaurus was towards the very end of the Cretaceous, around 66, 67 million years ago. Okay, that's possibly correct. You always have to be careful with that few million years. Um, anyway, let's take a look at somebody else. So this is a species of Macronanian sauropod from around 138 million years ago. This was towards the very beginning of the Cretaceous period, within the first, I'd say, 8 million years. And Aragosaurus existed over in Spain at the time and could reach a length of somewhere around 60 feet or 18 meters and probably weigh somewhere between 20 to 25 tons. So, despite it being much shorter in length, by the way, this is a very well done drawing. Um, no, no, really. I mean, when you look at these neck structure, but anyway, um,
He's missing his front toes on his front leg.
no, they give him the thumb claw. That's good.
No, I'm
And
looking on the other foot.
well, it's because it would be point. The thumb would be facing the other thumb, so you're just not going to be seeing it from that angle. What is interesting is that they did not give it the distinct osteoderm spikes. That's something that you would see on different species of diplodocid. This macronanian looks like something that is more closely related to the chimaerosaurid, not you, chimaerosaurid lineage of dinosaurs. In this instance, he looks a bit closer to maybe even the titanosaurs, such as not titanosaurs, distant relatives of brachiosaurs like the sauroposeidon. The sauroposeidon wouldn't appear in North America until around 110 million years ago. This is far beforehand in Spain. Um, but they were also just simply much more heavily built than the diplodocids. So let's head back to the article. Let's see. When De Coakley was alive, Madagascar was connected to India, and the two landmasses were isolated in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Geological evidence indicates that India and Madagascar separated around 88 million years ago, just after De Coakley lived. Thus, De Coakley potentially could have been ancestral to animals that lived later in both Madagascar and India. Oh, okay. Well, this would make sense. So that could possibly indicate that this animal might be the predecessor to animals such as, or later, Abelisaurs, Majungasaurus, and other Pakistan or Indian species. We had always suspected that abelisauroids were in Madagascar 90 million years ago because they were also found in younger rocks on the island that locally nicely confirms this hypothesis. It does seem to look like abelisaurids first evolved somewhere around the beginning of the early Cretaceous, around 145 million years ago, but it is possible that they extended much, well, slightly further back into the late Jurassic, so probably around 147, 148 million years ago. They also had some of the smallest arms compared to their body size of any group of carnivorous theropod dinosaurs, unless you're talking about the mononychids of the theropod lineage, which also had one claw in some instances. They only had one finger, just a big thumb. Anyway, let's take a look at somebody else. So, this is a species of ornithopod and an iguanodontid from Africa around 111 million years ago. This is Lurdusaurus. And yes, this animal, especially this creature, looks quite
I just
cheerful.
found him too funny not to hit him.
He looks quite cheerful. Like he has been feeding on a very substantial amount of ferns and early flowers of Africa. And at this time, where Lurdosaurus is found in Africa, so in different parts of the Sahara Desert, it would have coexisted with other species of iguanodontids, such as the large-sailed Tyrannosaurus. Now, both Lurdosaurus and Tyrannosaurus, they're around the same size. So Lurdosaurus could reach about 23 feet in length or 7 meters and probably weigh somewhere around 2.5 tons. So it was a medium-sized species of iguanodontid. Our Rhinoceros is probably around 2 to 3 tons. But for some reason, a Rhinoceros decided to take a path in evolution where it had an elongated back vertebrae, whereas the Lurdosaurus did not have this type of a characteristic. This animal did have hundreds of teeth inside of its mouth, so it was one of the most efficient grazers and browsers at this point. Now, when looking at different species of herbivores, when you're comparing the different species of ankylosaurs, so animals like Ankylosaurus, like with the club tails, the ceratopsians such as Triceratops, and then the Hadrosaurologodontids, what tends to occur is that certain species of ankylosaur, when it comes to just out of the three groups, how efficient they were at chewing, certain species of actually ankylosaurs in general, tend to have the least efficient way of chewing out of the three groups. And then it would
They're
extend.
huge.
Sure. Are you referring to like the animal itself, or they can be quite large, but when you're looking at the tooth structure, it's not necessarily the best when it comes to obtaining all the nutrients out of a like certain different species of ferns.
So you're saying they just swallow their food?
No, 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 no. They still chewed it. It was just to a lesser extent. The ceratopsians were a bit more efficient. The nodosaurs also tend to be a bit more efficient when it came to um, direct chewing, so on almost on line with different species of ceratopsian, and then the more primitive iguanodontids like Blurdosaurus, iguanodon itself were the best, were like probably the second best chewers, and then the true hadrosaurs like in Montosaurus and Parasaurolophus were the best of the plant-eating dinosaur lineage. So let's head back to the article. Um, let's see. But the fossils of Delocli are tantalizingly incomplete. That's always sad to hear. There is so much more we want to know. Was Delocli closely related to later abelisauroids on Madagascar, or did it die out without descendants? Um, hmm. I mean, well, here's the thing: Majangasaurus would become much larger than the animal that is showing at the top of this article. Yeah, this is a medium-sized species of belisaur. Also, over in South America, you had animals such as the more famous Carnivorous, which existed on the continent around 68, 67 million years ago. And that animal could reach over 20 feet in length or 6 meters and weigh somewhere between 2 to 3 tons. This animal might be pushing 1,100 pounds or a little over 500 kilograms. But let's see. Yeah, was it a direct ancestor? I think it possibly could be. This dinosaur was closely related to other famous dinosaurs from the southern continents, like the horned Carnivorous, as I said, from Argentina, and Majungasaurus, also from Madagascar. We've got to, come on, people, mention other belly swords. This just reinforces the importance of exploring new areas around the world where undiscovered dinosaur species are still waiting. Let's take a look at another species of creature. Now, this is a Bellysaurus. And this is a very cheerful Bellysaurus. I think he's been,
He looks like Snoopy's cousin.
yeah, well, Spike. Actually, Spike always looked kind of dull, and except when he got fattened up with those milkshakes. Anyway, um, a Bellysaurus lived in Argentina around 80 million years ago. So this is about 10 million years after the Madagascar individual was living. Now, it's likely that this individual was not the descendant of the Madagascar species. Now, Bellysaurus could reach somewhere around 25 feet in length or pushing a little over 7 meters and probably weigh around 2 tons. Now, in this instance, seems to be we have Bellysaurus and Carnotaurus, but Bellysaurus and Carnotaurus did not coexist. They were split by about 12 million years. They would never come to contact with each other. They were probably feeding on certain similar prey items, might have hunted smaller species or smaller individuals of different species of sauropod at the time. There were not any species of horned ceratopsian where they existed. So there weren't any species of dinosaur related to the Triceratops, as well as doesn't seem to be any species of Ankylosauridae that existed in South America. There were different species of the Nodosaur, um, but just not any evidence of the other group. Now, Abelisaurus did seem to have slightly larger arms compared to its body size, unlike other species of the Abelisaurid family, which is odd. You look at the Carnotaurus, they're even smaller, like they're almost nubs when it comes to just the overall structure of their arms, unlike the Abelisaurus. Now, also, why did Carnotaurus end up evolving these distinct horns on the top of its skull, whereas pretty much every other Abelisaur species just had a bare skull? Now, they were still quite robust, a bit different from the Tyrannosaurs, but probably the next most robust skull structure of any of the theropod lineage and the most robust of the Carnosaur lineage in general. So they were capable of crushing bone to a major extent. Let me know what your favorite species of island dinosaur is. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.